another question coming in from Matt in Texas. He says, every year we hear about draft strategies like zero running back or late round quarterback. Do either of you guys follow or recommend a specific draft strategy?
Well, that's a good question. I'll say the one that I typically follow. There's really not one that I abide by every single year, no matter what, except the late round quarterback strategy. I think a lot of it's dependent when you talk about zero running back or taking a tight end earlier, wide receiver heavy early, whatever you want to do in those early rounds. So much of it is dependent on your draft position and who's on the board. Like it just really depends how the draft falls, and based on how that goes, you're going to have to be flexible with your decision making. But the one thing year in and year out that I find myself doing is taking a late quarterback. This year is no different because for me, the value above replacement at the quarterback position is just not that big. So you think about a Patrick Mahomes, maybe he's getting you 25, 30 points a week, but you can find quarterbacks later on or stream quarterbacks that are going to get you 18 to 24 points a week. And that's only a 5 or 6 point difference. Where at the running back position, where you're taking a Mahomes, you can get a guy like like a Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, someone in that tier that's going to be putting up 20, 25 points a week. Where if you punt the running back position later on in those middle rounds, you might have a guy getting you 8 to 12 points a week. And that 12, 10 to 12 point difference at the running back position is a lot more. I think quarterbacks are a lot easier to replace. Running backs are scarce, so that's why I love loading up on running backs early. But like this season, you look at quarterbacks on the board, and we've done a lot of mocks on this show and even off the air, Steph, where last round of the draft, second to last round of the draft in a 12-team league, you're seeing names like Carson Wentz, I think, fell to like the 13th round in a mock we did, which was insane. I don't know what happened there, but consistently we're seeing Baker Mayfield go undrafted, Jared Goff go undrafted, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Those guys are falling to double-digit rounds. I can't imagine you're going to find, maybe you can take a lottery pick or a handcuff in those rounds that could hit for you but might not. But a lot of the time, the players you're drafting there, you're going to end up cutting, where you could take, elite talent or very good talent that's going to be a starter for you in a running back or a receiver spot early on instead of that quarterback and still find that value later on. So I'm a big proponent of the late quarterback strategy. And year in and year out, that's what I do. But that's probably the only, Bible level fantasy football truth that I take into drafts.
I think it's so silly if you try to go into a draft saying like, I'm going to stick to this one strategy no matter what, because a lot of times too, like it makes sense to zig when everyone else zags. And, this year it kind of seems like there's a meta evolving, which is going running back, wide receiver. But in that too, like, sometimes you can even grab like a Devontae Adams in the second round, which I think to me at that point, it could be a value. Right, so if you're getting like let's say Dalvin Cook, and then you're grabbing Devontae Adams, now you have, two locked in, assuming good health guys at the position, but
good health and good contracts.
Yes, health and contracts. That's the blessings we need in 2020. But no, I think you got to be fluid in your drafts. You can't be too stringent on one specific strategy. And you hear a lot of other guys in the fantasy community and in the industry saying this stuff as well. And I agree with them. So it also depends on your draft too. Like, I'm with you on the late QB thing, but at the same time, it's like if Lamar Jackson's there at the back of the third because everyone's going late quarterback, then at that point he becomes a value. So it's more about understanding within the picks in your draft where guys are as a value. I have a few players, going to have this like running notepad that I have open on my phone where it's just like if X player falls past this pick, it's an instant pickup. So that's kind of what you want to have in your mind. It doesn't need to be as specific as that, but just knowing that, hey, if so-and-so falls to this round, I'm picking them up. It's kind of a way for you to lock in your guys, so to speak, in the draft and look at your roster at the end of it and be like, hey, I really like this team that I have.